Pontiac G6 Sedan 2004 to 2009. The Pontiac G6 is a mid-size car that was produced by General Motors under the Pontiac brand. It was introduced in 2004 for the 2005 model year to replace the Grand Am. The car was built on the GM Epsilon platform, which it shared with the Chevrolet Malibu and Saab 9-3 along with other General Motors vehicles. Features included a remote starting system, standard on GT, optional on base model, traction control, ABS, electronic stability control, automatic headlights, as well as a panoramic sunroof option. Production ended in 2010 with a discontinuation of the Pontiac line. Its name derives from being the successor to the Pontiac Grand Am, and serves as the sixth generation of the Grand Am, hence G6. The name change from Grand Am to G6 also served as a standard for most future models. For example, the Pontiac G8 was a class above the G6, while the Pontiac G5 was a class below. The nomenclature also harkens back to the Pontiac 6000, another mid-size car. The Pontiac G6 was first introduced at the 2003 North American International Auto Show as a concept car. The concept used a 3.5 liters supercharged V6 that made 285 horsepower and 272 pounds-feet of torque, mated to a 4T65E electronically controlled automatic transmission. When the G6 was introduced in 2005, it had two trim levels, base V6 and Sporty or GT. Both trims, however, used a 3.5 liters pushrod V6 producing 200 horsepower, 150 kilowatts, and 220 lb-f middle-feet, 300 in middle-m, of torque. Matched to a 4-speed automatic transmission, the GT featured TA shift, where the driver could select the gears manually. Base models were well equipped, featuring power locks, windows and mirrors with keyless entry, 6-speaker CD stereo, power driver's seat, air conditioning and split folding rear seat. GTs added an 8-speaker monsoon stereo, premium cloth seats with 6-way adjustment, remote start, ABS and traction control. In 2006, the G6 added 2 new trim levels and 2 new body styles, a coupe and a retractable hardtop convertible. The new trim levels were a new base 4-cylinder trim, sometimes referred to as SAE, and the high-performance GTP. Coupes and convertibles were available in GT and GTP trims only. The new base model used a 169 horsepower, 2.4 liters stock inline-4, mated to a 4-speed automatic transmission. The 3.5 liters V6 was now part of a sport package on the base, SAE, and remained standard on the GT. The new GTP used a 3.9 liters version of the GT's 3.5 liters V6, but also utilizes variable valve timing, VVT, increasing output to 240 horsepower. A 4-speed automatic transmission was standard, but for no cost, a 6-speed manual transmission was available. The GTP convertible was not available with a manual transmission and reduced its power to 227 horsepower, due to a more restrictive exhaust system. The GTP also featured standard electronic stability control. The 2007 G6 saw more engine changes, and standard side torso and side curtain airbags, actually introduced late in the 2006 model year, were new. The GT now featured VVT on its 3.5 liters V6, raising power from 200 horsepower to 224 horsepower. The 3.9 liters V6 became an option on the GT, producing 227 horsepower in automatic transmission form and 240 horsepower in manual transmission form. The GTP was given a new 3.6 liters stock V6 with 24 valves and VVT, producing 252 horsepower at 6,300 RPM. It is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Midway through the model year, the 6-speed manual was dropped with the 3.9 liters, along with its 240 horsepower output. The GTP convertible was also discontinued. For 2008, the GTP became the GXP with more dramatic styling cues, and the 3.9 liters engine became an exclusive convertible option, with horsepower down to 222. C ratings also dropped the horsepower ratings on the 2.4 liters and 3.5 liters models to 164 horsepower and 219 horsepower, 217 horsepower on convertibles, respectively. For 2009, 2.4 liters four-cylinder engines were added to the coupe lineup. An all-new 6-speed automatic transmission, which debuted on the Chevrolet Malibu, became optional on four-cylinder models. GM revised the G6 in the middle of 2009, creating a 2009.5 model year. Changes consisted of a revised front and rear fascia as well as a revision of the dashboard, most notably adding an updated radio with Bluetooth capability. Coupes and convertibles ceased production at the end of the 2009 model year, making examples with a 2009.5 changes fairly rare. Subsequent to this model's introduction, General Motors entered bankruptcy, and announced that the G6 sedan would be discontinued in 2010. Most other Pontiac models had been discontinued, but the G6 was in high demand for fleet vehicle orders, facilitating production to continue while the brand was wound down. In 2010, the G6 had white backlit dashboard lights instead of the traditional red, Pontiac color scheme. GM began marketing the Buick brand in Mexico to replace Pontiac after the 2009 model year. GM replaced the Pontiac G6 competitively with the Buick Regal, and later in the United States and Canada, the G6 and the Saturn Aura were ultimately replaced by GM's revived Buick Regal nameplate. The convertible Pontiac G6 was later replaced by the Opel Cascada, marketed as a Buick in the US in early 2016.